It's not exactly an inspiring story. You're not going to want to run up the stairs like Rocky.
Just what you've been waiting for. Movies, TV, music, and more. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop every other Monday. It's the man, watch that. It's the man, watch that. It's the man, watch that podcast.
Welcome to the Matt Watch That podcast, the place for reviews, rants, and randomness. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to watch a movie or TV pilot that I probably should have seen but never got around to. It could be a recent favorite, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or suggestions as to what I should see next, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Before we start, this is the first episode of an all-new season of the Matt Watch That podcast. I'm super excited for 2025. Not politically. America is gonna crap the bed, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch it burn. So to take your mind off the impending doom, we've got some really great titles to review. And I am super hopeful that my 20-minute podcast can bring a little bit of joy into your life in this absolutely crazy world. Alphonse, what do we have on deck? So there's a Best Picture winner. That's always impressive. Best Music Original Song winner. Even a Best Achievement in Visual Effects winner. Let's see what else. Best Actress in a Leading Role winner. And an 18-time Emmy-winning series. And that's just in the first 5 episodes. Can you believe it? I try to mix up the decades, genres, type. Some you might know, others you should know. But all you should watch. Maybe. We'll see. I haven't viewed all these things yet, so there might be a couple of stinkers in there. It happens. But others might surprise you. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the first review of the season. As always, we premiere with a double episode, so in the next one, I'm going to be looking at the movies being released in 2025 and give you my thoughts. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of sequels, reboots, and remakes. Surprise, surprise. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. On this episode of the podcast, I'll be reviewing Boogie Nights from 1997. It was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who helmed crime drama Hard 8, psychological drama Magnolia, romantic comedy Punch Drunk Love, period drama There Will Be Blood, and coming-of-age comedy Licorice Pizza. He's been nominated for 11 Academy Awards, for Best Motion Picture of the Year, Director, Adapted, and Original Screenplay. He also wrote the screenplay for this movie. It stars Mark Wahlberg as Eddie Adams, a.k.a. Dirk Diggler. He rose to fame as rapper and dancer in Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, whose first single, Good Vibrations, was co-written by his brother Donnie Wahlberg of New Kids on the Block fame and Amir Shakir. It reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. A follow-up, Wild Side, peaked at number 10 and sampled the Lou Reed hit, Walk on the Wild Side. The single helped his debut album, Music for the People, be certified platinum. He transitioned to modeling for Calvin Klein in print and television ads, and released a workout video called the Marky Mark Workout, Form, Focus, Fitness. He made his acting debut in the television movie The Substitute, followed by a part in comedy Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito and Gregory Hines. He dropped the Marky Mark persona, and his next 2 roles raised his acting profile: true crime drama, The Basketball Diaries, and psychological thriller, Fear. But his breakthrough would be in Boogie Nights. His performance was universally praised and led to high-profile films Three Kings, The Perfect Storm, Planet of the Apes, The Italian Job, my personal favorite of his, Four Brothers, and The Departed. He moved to producing, most notably on the showbiz drama Entourage. Boogie Nights also features Burt Reynolds, Julianne Moore, Don Cheadle, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy, Philip S. Hoffman, Joanna Gleason, and Luis Guzman. This is something to look out for. Alfred Molina hadn't heard the songs Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield or Sister Christian by Night Ranger, and spent 3 days learning them so he could sing along to the tunes in the film. So let's jump into it. Eddie Adams is a 17-year-old high school dropout who works as a busboy at the Hot Tracks Disco Club in Reseda, California. It's frequented by filmmakers and performers in the adult pictures industry. Notable erotic director Jack Horner takes an interest in Eddie and approaches him in the kitchen for an introduction. Eddie knows of his work, but initially rejects the offer to work for him. He lives with his parents and is not hard up for money, but he doesn't want to bail on Maurice Rodriguez, owner of the club. They part ways, but Jack is still determined to take Eddie under his wing. The next night, he convinces Brandy, aka Roller Girl, a fun-loving, up-and-coming porn star, pun partially intended, to seduce Eddie. With the resolve of Jack and persuasiveness of his partner, veteran porn actress Amber Waves, they convince Eddie to pursue a career in adult films. When he arrives home late, a fight ensues with his abusive mother and he leaves, taking shelter at Jack's mansion in the valley, where he meets other players in his troupe. He's introduced to the Colonel, who tells Eddie that he needs a name that has more pizzazz. Dirk Diggler is born. Here's a quote without context. Everyone's blessed with one special thing. Boogie Nights is an entertaining film about a seemingly soul-sucking industry. It captures the experiences of those who lived through the club scene in 70s and 80s Hollywood, at least from what I've seen in other movies. It's not exactly an inspiring story. You're not going to want to run up the stairs like Rocky. You're watching the rise to stardom and downfall of a career of a porn star. I like the direction. The opening shot featured a continuous take around Hot Tracks Disco Club that was really impressive. It told a great story visually and focused on all the players that you'd come to know. Paul Thomas Anderson also chose interesting angles to shoot conversations. Instead of the standard setup, the frame was tilted or positioned in a unique way. Now normally, I don't like fancy camera work, or anything that takes me out of the experience of watching a movie, but it totally works in this instance. The performances were nuanced. It didn't matter if it was a big role, small role, the entire cast was great. The story got into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of these people's lives, and they became a makeshift family. Jack Horner and Amber Waves are surrogate parents to an eclectic group of people. It also showed the prejudice and struggles they face because of their profession in a way that didn't glorify or condemn, which is a tough balance that worked to perfection. Now, I hadn't seen the runtime prior to watching the film, but I checked in at around an hour and 40 minutes and was surprised because I thought only an hour went by. When I reached the credits, it didn't feel like the length that it was, which could have been a line of dialogue from one of these films. Now for a little trivial trivia. The original oil painting of Dirk Diggler was sold for $500 in 2001 and $3,000 in 2017. Boogie Nights was distributed by New Line Cinema. It was filmed at Dupar's Restaurant, Reseda Cinema, El Royale Motel, La Tortilla Loca, Miss Donuts, and Iglesia Cristiana Nuevo Empezar in the San Fernando Valley and Los Angeles area. The cinematography was captured by Robert Elswit, whose filmography includes zombie horror sequel, Return of the Living Dead 2, psychological thriller, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Bond adventure, Tomorrow Never Dies, legal drama, Runaway Jury, and heist flick, The Town. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Cinematography of Good Night and Good Luck, and won for There Will Be Blood. It was edited by Dylan Tichenor, who worked on superhero flick Unbreakable, quirky comedy The Royal Tenenbaums, western romance Brokeback Mountain, and roller derby drama Whip It. He was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for Best Achievement in Film Editing of There Will Be Blood and Zero Dark 30. The score was composed by Michael Penn, who wrote the music for episodes of period drama Masters of Sex, coming-of-age comedy Girls, and fantasy comedy Here and Now. The soundtrack featured songs by Hot Chocolate, Jethro Tull, Emotions, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Marvin Gaye, and the Commodores. The runtime is 2 hours 35 minutes. It had a budget of $15 million and grossed $43 million at the box office. It was nominated for 3 Oscars at the 1998 Academy Awards for Best Writing, Screenplay written directly for the screen for Paul Thomas Anderson, Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Julianne Moore, and Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Burt Reynolds. On the Ski Index, I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you've seen Boogie Nights and have opinions on the movie, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattWatchThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm going to post clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Watch That Playback. Okay, I feel bad admitting this, but I saw a video recently where a dog gets a little too close to an electric fence and gets a slight shock. And his reaction prompted a nearby donkey to start laughing, only as donkeys can do. And it made me, from the gut, belly laugh so hard. I've never had that visceral of a reaction to a donkey before. I think it's because I had always been afraid of donkeys. It has to come from Pinocchio. You know that scene on Pleasure Island where the boys start morphing into donkeys? That animation, man, it is so effective. It's also probably why I stayed away from drinking and smoking. So anyway, I went down this rabbit hole of videos with donkeys laughing. And after about 10 minutes, my sides were hurting. I know, it doesn't take much. But donkeys are pretty fascinating animals. You wouldn't know it by looking at them, but here are some facts about the Equus africanus. Donkeys were first domesticated about 5,000, 6,000 years ago in Africa. They were originally used for agricultural work and have a natural ability to carry heavy loads over distances. The most common breeds are the standard donkey, used for general farm labor and as pets, the miniature donkey, smaller in size, obviously, and it's used as companion animals or pets, the mammoth donkey, you know where I'm going here, larger breed of donkey, used for draft work, and the Poitou donkey. It's known for a long, thick coat and primarily bred for its wool in France. So they have a long lifespan compared to other domesticated animals. They could live about 25 to 30 years on average. Not bad. Donkeys are herbivores, primarily eating grass, hay, and other vegetation. They could also survive on poorer quality food, like most Americans today. Now, they're very social creatures. They prefer to live in herds. They can form strong bonds with other animals, such as horses, goats, and dogs. They're also highly intelligent. Donkeys are excellent at recognizing other donkeys. They remember faces very well. They're often misunderstood as being stubborn, but they're actually cautious and careful animals. And, as we've established, they have a good sense of humor. They communicate through a range of vocalizations, including braying, which apparently is their most famous sound. They're adaptable to different environments. They can thrive in deserts, with limited food and water, and they're not too bad in the cold either. Recently, donkeys have been used in therapy. It's mostly due to their calm and patient nature, and they're especially helpful with children who have autism or emotional challenges. And last, and this might give people some pause, donkey milk is used in skincare. That's right, it's good for moisturizing and has anti-aging properties. Look at that. Despite the fact that their own faces look like old shoes. So I've selected a couple of clips of donkeys just being donkeys. They're all available in the Matt Watch That Playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about The Wolf of Wall Street. The biographical black comedy is based on the memoir of Jordan Belfort, a stockbroker who rose to power on Wall Street, fueled by greed, corruption, and excess. Set in the 1990s, the film follows Belfort, a charismatic but morally bankrupt young man, to say the least, who starts his own brokerage firm, Stratton Oakmont. With a focus on high-pressure sales tactics, and of course, illegal schemes, Belfort manipulates the stock market to amass a huge fortune. As his wealth and influence grow, so does his indulgence in a lavish lifestyle, filled with drugs, parties, and debauchery. Alongside his loyal partner, Donny Azoff, and a group of like-minded traders, Belfort's unchecked ambition leads him into deeper criminal activities, including securities fraud and money laundering. Despite his success, he becomes entangled in investigations by the FBI and is eventually faced with the consequences of his actions. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead role, capturing both the charm and the recklessness of a man driven by greed. Jonah Hill delivers a standout performance as Donny Azoff, adding both humor and intensity to the film. Margot Robbie shines as Naomi LaPaglia, Belfort's wife, whose beauty and ambition are central to his world of excess. Supporting roles include Matthew McConaughey, who appears in a memorable cameo as a veteran stockbroker, and Kyle Chandler as the determined FBI agent Patrick Denham. Directed by Martin Scorsese, the film showcases the dangerous, hedonistic world of high finance and corporate corruption, all through Belfort's charismatic yet morally bankrupt lens. The Wolf of Wall Street is a sharp, darkly comedic exploration of ambition, excess, and the consequences of unrestrained greed, questioning the limits of ambition and the price of living in a world where morality and law are easily bent for the sake of success. That's all for this edition of Matt Watch That. Thanks for listening to me babble. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or suggestions as to what movie or TV pilot I should see, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the reviews, rants, and randomness. He rose to fame as rapper and dancer in Marky Mark and the Fresh Bunch. The performances were nuanced. It didn't matter if it was a big role, smart role. With a focus on high-pressure sales tactics. Psychological drama, oh boy.